You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host Nesbit. After 2 huge shows in Texas, Night Demon rolls on to Arizona on their coast-to-coast tour supporting metal legends Blind Guardian on the God Machine Tour. This is Night Demon on the road.
So after the Austin show, we got some rest at our buddy Sean's house. Like I mentioned before, he was not in town. He was in Dallas, but we have a key to his house, which is super nice. And we've stayed there so many times. It's kind of like our own place in a way, like the familiarity of it, at least. So we got some good rest. We had a day off the next day because the following show was in Phoenix, Arizona. Quite the drive. So we just decided to take our time that day, but you really use the whole day to just drive the whole way. We thought about stopping somewhere like a midpoint, but really through the southwest of the desert. With that route from Austin to Phoenix, it's not really super cool. It's not like we're passing through Roswell, New Mexico or anything like that.
Austin to Phoenix on the map without stopping, driving straight is a 15-hour drive. But we had the day off. So the plan there was to basically drive through.
So we had a day off after Austin, and that's just as well because we had 1,000 miles to travel. So we left by 8 a.m. and hit the road, and it was just a long old travel day. The guys split up the driving between them.
So we just drove the entire day, and drove through Fredericksburg, which is cool. It's like a German town in Texas, kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty interesting because we do spend a lot of time in Germany, so it's cool to see that in Texas, arguably one of the most quote unquote American states, to see like a German settlement. So that was kind of cool. One thing that we did have to deal with on this drive that we hadn't had to deal with yet, and the rental company Bandigo had told me this about the van. So it was a newer Mercedes Sprinter, and with newer cars, there's more and more safety features added every year that vehicles are made, which is a good thing. So, but there was something with this van because they're so tall. I guess it's kind of like a crosswind safety feature. So when you're driving on the highway, anytime there's like a strong crosswind, the van will automatically brake to keep you from tipping over. We've driven plenty of these vans in our history as a band, and we've never really had a fear of tipping over. However, there was a lot of wind coming through West Texas. And while I was driving, I was struggling with this because I'd be driving at a higher rate of speed, and the van would all of a sudden brake, when the wind would blow hard, and that it didn't cause me to ever fishtail out or anything like that. But with all the weight that we had in the van, with all the gear and all the passengers and, 22 feet of vehicle, it was a bit jarring when it would happen. And it kept happening over and over again on this drive.
We were just getting knocked all around the road. Like we had a Mercedes Sprinter van, which is, I think, I don't recall exactly the height, but it's a pretty tall vehicle. And they told us when we picked it up that because they're so tall, they are prone to tipping over in crosswinds. And so they added this feature to them, which is called Crosswind Assist, where if it detects a crosswind, it'll basically brake for you and correct itself. When you're driving it, it's pretty weird when it happens. Like all of a sudden, the car brakes itself and the steering wheel turns on its own. And it's pretty strange, but yeah, that was getting activated a lot on this drive, and I was in the back trying to sleep, and I just remembered like getting knocked forward and then knocked to the left, knocked to the right, just like because it would be slamming on the brakes, and then we'd get pushed to the left with the wind or pushed to the right with the wind. It was pretty bumpy, that ride. That's what it takes sometimes.
And there was no way for us to disable it. We did a bunch of research online, read the owner's manual. It's just a safety feature that's built in that you cannot disable. What happened later on was even worse, because as we were driving through New Mexico and Arizona, there was a freaking sandstorm that was brewing, and there was like weather alerts that there was a high wind advisory. It was brutal. When the sand started kicking up too, there was like the visibility was low, and we were just trying to get there. So everybody that took a shot driving that day was dealing with this crosswind safety feature in a sandstorm. And it's just a pain in the ass. I mean, you're like sitting there, or even if you're trying to get some rest and all of a sudden it's like, boom, the van hits the brakes. You're going 70 miles per hour on the highway, something like this. So it was just one of those things. I guess we were glad we had a safety feature in there, but it was just, it was inconvenient, and it really did kind of suck. But anyway, we got there really late at night. Me and Laura got a hotel. Armand and Brian and Joelle and Jameson stayed with one of Armand's old friends who lived in the Phoenix area.
We actually ended up staying with a good friend of mine from when I was growing up in Apple Valley, when I was 8-9 years old. My best friend from school, his family, I got really close with his family. He had a cousin, Robert Duran, and, he was just always around. He was a little bit older than us, so it was cool having that older influence when we were kind of there. I mean, not very much, maybe a couple of years or so. But anyway, he lives in a town right outside of Phoenix. So, again, we're on this trip, like trying to find spots to stay, or we're not having to get hotels, because those things add up. And, it's always fun staying with friends. So I set it up with him. He didn't have a very big place, but it was enough for basically us to just get one hotel room, and then myself, Jameson, and Joao ended up staying with Robert. So yeah, man, we drove all day. I mean, the plan, I kept telling him, man, we'll get there by 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And then it's like, I realized, oh shit, there's a time change. Oh, and that doesn't work. Actually, that worked in our favor. And even at that point, we didn't get to his place till, I don't know, it was at least midnight, 12:30. And, he was super stoked on having us over, and, he's into making, he's very into like brewing beer, just making stuff, from scratch. So now his new trip is making pizzas out of he makes his own sourdough bread, and he uses that for the crust, which is freaking amazing. If you've never had sourdough crust pizza, definitely look that up and try to get some of that. So he was all pumped on making us pizzas and, having some beers and doing the whole thing. But I felt bad because we kept, the time was getting later. You think, yeah, man, we can just drive straight through. We got 3 or 4 drivers. Well, you stop for food and you do this and you do that. And half an hour here, half an hour there. It adds up. So we didn't get there till super late. But we did, and we had some of that pizza, and goddamn, it was worth fucking waiting for, that's for sure. So that was awesome.
We were in town, so it was kind of relaxed. We had some time the next day to leave at checkout and not have to rush. That's one of those things. I mean, doing these long drives that are, 12 to 18 hours a day, it does suck. And sometimes it is cool to stop and just get some rest. But it's also nice to just be at the venue the day that you're playing and be able to have some time and get some more sleep, right? And not have to rush around and not have to account for traffic or accidents or whatever happens there on the road. Blown tires, all this stuff.
So anyway, we got a good night of sleep. Next day was chill. We were already in Phoenix, basically. So, really short drive, get into this venue. Crescent Ballroom. The Crescent Ballroom, one of the smaller venues that we did on the tour. I think their cap was, I don't even know if you could fit 500 people in this place, maybe less. But, the good thing that came with that is that the show is sold out. So it was a packed night.
This was an interesting one, actually, because it was a really small room, which is unusual for Blind Guardian. On this tour, we were playing, like 2,000 capacity rooms almost every day. And we're having 800 to 1,000 people most nights. And this place can only hold 500 people. So this was a more intimate show. And I have to say, it is cool to play big venues, large crowds, and, big places. But for me, I do really enjoy the nights that you get to just come to a smaller place that's just packed to the brim. And to me, that's just what rock and roll or heavy metal is about, is, these just rooms with just people sweating, right up against the stage and just packed in there, just all there for one reason. So I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it for that. Absolutely.
Arizona! You guys feeling fucking good today? Oh, hell yeah, that's what I'm fucking talking about. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. We want to thank Blind Guardian for bringing us on the most amazing fucking tour. Let's give it up for those guys. We haven't been here in a very, very long time. We are overdue for an Arizona play. So thank you guys so much. Old friends coming out. And hopefully we made some new ones tonight. Yeah?
Definitely one of the tighter stages we've played too, so we had to really kind of, strategically place everything on the stage. But we did the show. My buddy brought his son out who had never seen a live heavy metal concert before, and we fucking blew his mind. That was one of the highlights for me.
All is quiet now that he's gone.
when you have a couple of bands and their crews all touring together, you don't always meet everyone straight away. So, you'll recognize everyone to say hi, but sometimes it takes a couple of days or a couple of shows before you actually get really acquainted with people. So by this stage, it was nice to actually start getting to know Blind Guardian and their crew, and they're just such a great bunch of lads and just really, really good fun. And I remember in Phoenix, it was the first time really that I got talking to James, who is their audio guy and their tour manager. And James is English. So I remember he came up and was talking to Sean, the merch guy. And I was there and he was like, "You're Irish." So when he realized that, he starts hurling abuse at me and I start hurling abuse back at him. And we were just fast friends from that moment on, with the whole Irish-English thing. Because I've definitely got in trouble before because the way that Irish people connect with people is like as soon as you start like being really cheeky and really rude to someone and hurling insults at them, you know that you're best friends. And it doesn't always translate to well with Americans. But I think the English are also quite like that. So it actually, it was quite a comforting thing. And love James. And it was really nice to made me feel like I was back at home.
Hey guys, Nesbitt here. If you would like to support Night Demon and this podcast, the best way to do it is to become a Night Demon subscriber. Not only will you be doing your part to support a true heavy metal band out there really living it, you'll also gain access to a ton of extras. Bonus audio content, a subscriber-only merch store with rare items from the band's archives. You can stream never-before-heard demos and unearth live concerts from the live vaults. Communicate with the other Night Demon diehards on an exclusive subscriber forum, and gain early access to all press releases, album pre-orders, new merchandise, and a ton more. And another thing that I think is pretty cool is Night Demon will be donating 10% of every subscription fee to the Metal Cares Foundation, which is a charitable fund the band started in 2014 to aid those in our metal community. So head over to nightdemon.net/subscriber and join us as we make heavy metal history together as one. And on a side note, I'll personally think you're a grade A badass.
So after that show, everything went well. Really good food at this venue. They made Mexican food there, and we had some killer, one of the things that we have on our rider is chips and salsa. This place made their own chips and their own salsas, and I was all about that, man. So I was enjoying that backstage. And then we all got to order from the menu there. So really good food. And that's it, man. The show went really well. Like I said, it was packed. I had some friends. Got to play for a kid that had never seen a live band before. I mean, he was super fucking over the moon about it. We even we got to talk with him after the show, and he was just like wide-eyed. And I guess my buddy Robert told me that on the way home, like, man, he just couldn't stop talking about it. So we hooked him up with a T-shirt and stuff, and so hopefully we've created a new metal fan.
So despite being a smaller show, Phoenix really turned out to be just a really fun night. Great people there. Loved the venue. Had a whole lot of fun. Ate some great food. And thank you to David and Alyssa, our buddies, for looking after us that night. We headed back to their place after and hung out. It was really cool.
But anyway, got a good night of sleep there and took off early in the morning to head to Los Angeles. That drive to Phoenix to LA is about 8 hours or so. So, we probably left at like 7, 8 in the morning, to get to the venue. Load in around 2 o'clock. That's kind of always the time we we always would shoot to get there by 2, you know. So getting to LA, going to the Belasco Theater.
We were going to play LA at the Belasco Theater, which is a really old, awesome theater built in the 20s. We had played there before at the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. I think that was in 2021 or 22. I think maybe it was December of 21, I want to say. One of our first shows back. So it was nice to be back there. We arrived and the venue was very helpful. We had a lot of stuff to set up. Big crowd that night. We were expecting a near sold out show. Big venue.
Beautiful, beautiful old kind of Art Deco-ish venue, you know, like I remember looking up at the ceiling at this place and just being fucking just mesmerized by the amount of work that was put into it. I think there's like 2 or 3 balconies in this place. I mean, just really, really cool. All kinds of good stuff. That day, I remember going down and meeting my girlfriend, Christina. I had her take a train from Oxnard down to LA Union Station because she was going to jump on the tour with us at that point and ride up to, all the way up to Seattle, basically. So I got myself one of those little electric scooters and I hopped on that and went to go pick her up at the station. So that was cool, getting to see her after being on the road for a week or so. I remember doing a little promo video for the show before we went on. You know, I was outside by Blind Guardian's bus, and there was a couple of dudes standing there, and I was like, hey, you guys excited for the show tonight? Blah, blah, blah. And they didn't quite have the reaction I was hoping to get. They were just kind of like, didn't really have a reaction until I kind of like put my fist in the air. I was like, hey, come on, man. And they're like, yeah. So I was like, oh God, is this going to be one of those shows? You know, you always think the LA crowd is kind of like, you know, not very enthusiastic because they get to see, you know, all the shows. But that proved me wrong. The show was really fucking good. One of the better shows we've had in LA.
LA is a major city. Whenever you come through the major cities on tour, like New York City or LA or whatever, you know, they're usually pretty good highlights of the tour. And this one was pretty fucking big. And we had Tim from Sarathungo come out and lots of friends. Daniel DK from Exciter was there. Carlos from Warbringer. So we had a lot of friends there and we had a great show. It was huge.
again, it's just like, here we are, this fucking tour, man, just keeps going, and the reactions every night are just freaking awesome for us. Every time we hit the stage, it's like we're playing in front of a full house, right off the bat. So really grateful for the Blind Guardian fans. Met many, many cool people. One of those cool people we met that night was a fellow Jesse. I won't say his last name because he is actually works for the Capitol. He's a Capitol police officer, and we got to talking. And he's a really big fan. He really loved the band. He actually doesn't live in L.A., but his wife had got him tickets for the show, flew him out for his birthday or the anniversary or something like that. And so he just happened to randomly be there to see us. And we, talked, and we actually were like, man, we're going to be heading out to your area, D.C. area, next at the end of the run with Sirith Ungol at the end of June. It'd be freaking awesome to hook up and, maybe get a view of the town. And he totally was like, yeah, man, I'll give you guys a private tour. No problem. Definitely hit me up. So that was a cool meetup and a cool friend to make, and good backup in case we ever need some heavy security. This dude knows what's up.
So it was nice. It was good to be back home and play in front of somewhat the hometown crowd. We had a really good show that night. It was really awesome. I mean, at this point, we're pretty good on the set list. We're getting to the point now where I don't even really need a set list because I know the order of the songs. But I remember that night being exceptionally well attended and well played by us, so that was nice.
The guys played a great show that night, and I was super proud of them.
Are we feeling good tonight, Los Angeles? That's what I'm fucking talking about. Have you been entertained so far tonight? Thank you guys so very fucking much. Special thanks to Blind Guardian coming all the way from Germany and taking us on the road. It's good to be here. Thank you so much. Last one for the night from us, from right up the road in Ventura, California, Night Demon! LA! We'll see you next time. Good night.
After the show, during the Blind Guardian set, just cruising around, having some beers, doing the thing. Our buddy Daniel DK was in town. He was there. Got to run into him, guitar player from Exciter. Just a lot of random friends from, the LA area and coming down from Ventura, Oxnard. It was the hometown show, so you can imagine everybody that was there wanting to hang out. So it was a eventful night, to say the least.
After the show, we ended up driving home to Ventura. So I think, the next day was in San Francisco. So we got hardly any sleep. Again, this is kind of the same thing that happened the night after the Bruce Dickinson show. I don't know. I think we maybe got, 5 hours at the most. But it was good to go home. It's good when we have these tours and at some point we can swing through our hometown because, there was other merchandising items that we had to pick up, and it's just good to replenish stuff at home. So we didn't know how well the tour was going to go, but it was going really well at that point. So there was some stuff there that we did need. So it was nice to be able to go there and restock on some things.
Next up, San Francisco.
Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we pick it up in San Francisco with the 2024 God Machine Tour. In the subscriber section, this week, we have the full audio of the Phoenix show and the Los Angeles show. That's in addition to every show in this tour so far and the last tour. And the subscriber section just has hundreds of live tracks and shows from all eras of Night Demon, going right back to their first ever show. All things Night Demon in the subscriber section. More info on how you can become a subscriber and access all of this content on the website, nightdemon.net. Until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net click on the subscriber tab and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time. All the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.